The Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom. As states formed their own constitutions, one of their many concerns was the influence that the church had on government. Prior to the Revolution, most colonies, like Virginia, used tax money to support one established denomination. That favored church varied from region to region. In New England, the colonies favored the Congregational Church. In the southern and in some of the middle colonies, the Church of England, or Anglican Church, enjoyed the privileges of establishment. Those privileges offended the many colonists who either belonged to another church or to no church at all. During the Revolution, Thomas Jefferson was among those who opposed close ties between the government and any particular religion. A basic tenet of American freedom is the right to worship as we please. Jefferson argued for this right when, as governor of Virginia, he wrote the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, which established the separation of church and state. The roots of these concepts go back to the very beginning of our country.
Underlying a number of these documents, when you go back to the Mayflower Compact, you go back to things like the Massachusetts Bay Charter, many of these states were concerned about religious persecution as well. I mean, Winthrop was a Puritan and felt like there had to be a good moral community. Of course, then the question is who gets to decide what is that moral community. But there is a religious undertone here of rights. Locke himself was deeply religious, was trained as a Puritan or raised as a Puritan as a child. So there is a religious undertone to this as far as liberties and freedoms that should be secured against a government. So Jefferson does pen these declarations of religious freedom, which clearly you can see in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. When you look at what is the First Amendment today, which was penned as the Third Amendment, is the idea of the right of freedom of religion and freedom against an established religion.
George Mason, in his Statutes of Virginia Bill of Rights, can be contrasted with Jefferson's bill on religious freedom in Virginia. Jefferson was concerned with a total separation of church from state. Mason was more interested in the Lockean idea of the individual self, the reasoning person being free and at liberty to have his natural rights preserved. So there was not the religious tenor to Mason's document that was present, of course, in Jefferson's. Not because Jefferson was thrusting the religious sentiment upon anyone in that document. In his, he was trying to keep religion separate from the power of the state.